What's up, guys? Mickle here, and last night we got a pretty big surprise with both Ripple and the SEC filing their motions for summary judgment early last night. In this video, I want to break down the most important things that you need to see in these motions because, guys, these things were juicy and we have so many interesting things to cover. For those of you guys who don't know, this case is really riding on summary judgment if it does not go to a settlement, and therefore all the evidence, all the parties' main points are laid out in these summary judgment motions. In this video, I'm going to be going over the parts you guys cannot afford to miss. Guys, these things are super interesting, and there are some gems hidden in these filings. Guys, towards the end of the video, I also want to go over some very weird things that some different XRP community members found in these filings. Make sure to stick around till the end of the video to see that. You are not going to want to miss it. Like always, guys, if you're new to this channel or come here all the time, please take a second to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It goes such a long way in helping this channel grow, and it really does mean so much to me. Also, guys, YouTube is trying to shadow ban me, so make sure to turn bell notifications on. This will make sure you guys do not miss any updates, even when YouTube doesn't want you to see them. Also, if you guys are ever looking for a good place to buy XRP, make sure to check out the link for Uphold in the description of this video. Uphold is one of my favorite exchanges and a great place to buy and sell XRP. With that said, though, guys, let's jump right into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Real quick, guys, MOO-MOO is an excellent place to buy and sell stocks. MOO-MOO is a regulated exchange with a great interface. Most importantly, though, MOO-MOO is running an awesome promotion this month where you can get up to 15 free stocks. Each one of these 15 stocks could also be worth up to $2,000. So, guys, do not miss out on this promotion and go sign up with MOO-MOO now. Link is in the description of this video. So, guys, let's get this video started and jump into both Ripple's and the SEC's summary judgment motions. Now, guys, these things were long and packed with information, so there's going to be so much more information released over the next couple weeks as all the different lawyers following this case can really break this thing down. But I want to show you some of the most important things that really stood out because, guys, some of this stuff you cannot miss. It is shocking. And first of all, this is out of Ripple's summary judgment motion, and guys, they hit the SEC hard and they hit them strong. Take a look at this, and when I read these different pieces of evidence, these different statements by Ripple, I want you guys to think of what your perspective would be if you were the judge in this case. First of all, take a look at this because I think this is pretty damning. This is from Ashley Prosper, and she tweeted out, "The Ripple team is hitting hard with summary judgment motion and is getting right to the heart of the matter." And right here, the Ripple lawyers are pointing out that the SEC is going against almost every single government agency and their decisions in the past. Take a look at this statement by the Ripple legal team. XRP does not have the characteristics of a security. Unsurprisingly, therefore, it is regulated as a virtual currency by FinCEN, as a commodity by the CFTC, and as property under the federal tax law as an intangible asset under generally accepted accounting principles, but as a security by none of these authorities. In straining to argue otherwise, the SEC is engaged in a regulatory land grab that far exceeds the boundaries Congress set on its authority. The SEC is not following the law, it is seeking to remake it. And this is the biggest issue in this case right now. Both Ripple and all of us know that the SEC does not have the proper authority to regulate digital assets. But the SEC is trying to change the law, trying to change the Howey test so that digital assets can fit under its jurisdiction. We have been saying for a while now on this channel that the reason the SEC is doing this is because they want more power over this industry. The SEC knows that digital assets do not fall under their jurisdiction under typical securities laws, so they're trying to change these securities laws to put digital assets under their jurisdiction. Right here, Ripple is calling them out on this and pointing out to the court that, hey, there are many other government agencies who have looked at XRP and none of them thought XRP was a security. This is what makes it obvious that the SEC just wants power over this industry and it has nothing to do with law. I thought this was a great statement by the Ripple legal team because it really hits on one of the biggest issues and really just shows the court, hey, the SEC is not looking out for XRP holders. That's why they tried to kick them out of this case. The SEC is not looking to follow the law because they have literally bent the Howey test so far out of its original form, it's not even recognizable. All the SEC wants is power, and Ripple calls them out perfectly in this motion. So, guys, now I want to move on and cover one of Ripple's most important arguments in this summary judgment brief, and that is that there was not a single contract between Ripple and XRP holders. Ripple takes a lot of time really pointing this out to the court in this summary judgment brief and really just blows up the SEC's theory that there was ever an investment contract. This on its own should really show that XRP cannot be a security of Ripple, so I'm really glad that Ripple spent a lot of time showing this to the court. Take a look at this statement by the Ripple legal team. When asked in discovery, the SEC refused to identify a contractual basis for a single offer and sale of XRP. Thus, because the Securities Act definition of investment contract requires an underlying contract, the SEC has no case to take this thing to trial. So right here, the Ripple legal team is just pointing out to the court, the SEC doesn't even have the law right here. The law requires the SEC to show a contract to the court between XRP holders and Ripple, and the SEC could not find a single one. Because of this, there's really no ambiguity here. XRP is not a security of Ripple based on our current securities laws, and this is something that the SEC just can't accept. So guys, I want to quickly cover this tweet by T. Holbetic because I think he really hits on something pretty important here, and that's that the SEC's arguments in their brief are just kind of laughable. He tweets out, the SEC put out 11 pages claiming Ripple's general comments positioned XRP as an investment and 14 pages on the Howey test as a 3-pronged test. Well, guys, we know the Howey test is a 4-pronged test. The only reason the SEC would have to change the Howey test would be because XRP does not fit under the typical 4-pronged test. This means that based on decades of securities laws, XRP is not a security. Why would the SEC be trying to change the test if they were always on the right side of the law? The SEC is trying to change the test because they're on the wrong side of the law and they want XRP under their jurisdiction. I think this was a horrible way to go about this argument. I think it pretty much just proves to the court that XRP does not fit under the Howey test. Why else would you be trying to change it? But it's pretty laughable by the SEC. Ripple submitted 41 pages on the real Howey test, 15 pages on Larson sales, and why none of these sales even fall under the US jurisdiction. So the SEC is fighting a case right now, and half the sales they're fighting about aren't even in the US, which means the SEC can't touch them. He then finishes off the tweet by pointing out that everything Ripple put in their motion was based on facts and proving to the court that based on the laws we have today, XRP is not a security, and the SEC's entire brief was based on a conspiracy theory that one day in a new form of securities laws based on a new set of factors that the SEC made up on the spot, XRP could be a security under those factors. Fortunately for the SEC, that's not how law works, and everything we have seen shows that XRP, based on the laws we have today, is not a security of Ripple. Now guys, something else very interesting brought up by Ripple in their motion is a lot of the sales the SEC is going after Ripple for, the SEC does not even have jurisdiction over. I pointed out earlier that a lot of the sales by Ripple actually took place outside the United States, and therefore the SEC can't touch these sales. Well, there's actually something else pretty interesting here, and that is the SEC ran past their statute of limitations in 2015. So this means the SEC can't legally go after any XRP sales before 2015. So now not only do we know that the SEC is on the wrong side of the law for the sales they are going after Ripple for, but a lot of the sales they're going after Ripple for aren't even under their jurisdiction. This is pretty funny because the SEC is in a weird pickle here where they're actually fighting Ripple based on things they're not even allowed to fight about. The SEC can't touch any sales outside the US or any sales before 2015. I actually think this is a really important argument for Ripple because there is no way the court is only going to make a ruling calling only certain units of XRP a security that were sold inside the US after 2015. It's completely unrealistic and an impossible standard to hold. It makes a lot more sense for the court to just come out and say, you know what, none of these XRP units are securities. It doesn't matter if they're sold in the US or not. I think this is just the most logical explanation for the court, and it's the easy one. It's the one that makes sense and creates the least confusion. The court does not want to create confusion here. The court knows that there are a ton of XRP holders tied up in this, and they want this thing to be over and have a resolution that's going to make sense. Calling certain sales of XRP a security based on a time frame and a US jurisdiction doesn't make any sense. It doesn't lead to a global framework and just leads to a big chaotic mess. Right here is another great example of why the common sense solution is for all XRP not to be a security, and that is not good for the SEC. I also want to point out that the SEC blatantly lies in this motion. They say Ripple's founders created XRP and the XRP ledger. That is not true. A lot of the original people who created the XRP ledger also went to Ripple, but it's not that the Ripple founders made XRP. The SEC purposely worded it like this to lie to the court to try to create more confusion. Pretty ugly, and I hope this gets called out because, guys, the SEC should not be trying to win at all costs here. If that's what they're trying to do, they should be trying to push fair rules to our digital asset ecosystem. Instead, they're just trying to win at all costs so they get power. It's gross and disgusting, but something I really expect out of the SEC at this point. So, guys, I want to finish this video off and show you some very interesting observations about both these summary judgment motions that just don't make sense. These are very interesting and could point to a settlement in the works. Take a look at this. First of all, why rush out summary judgment briefs on a Saturday night? Guys, these things were due Monday. Why did both Ripple and the SEC rush them out on a Saturday night? We know that the SEC has been late or last minute on almost every single motion. Why does suddenly the SEC get this thing out early? And why do they submit them at the same exact time early on a Saturday night? This has no explanation. I do not have any idea why this would happen, but very weird, very interesting, and shows that there could be discussions between the SEC and Ripple behind the scenes, because that would be a good sign for settlement. Who knows what else they were talking about besides just submitting these motions early. Also, too, nothing from the library judge. Is the library judge waiting for a settlement in this case to make their decision? Not sure. Something to keep our eye on. I think that one's a little more speculative. No mention of Hinman. This is very weird, and this does lead to settlement. The SEC could say, hey, don't bring up Hinman in the summary judgment briefs. We'll figure out a settlement. Maybe that's why they submitted it early, part of that discussion. Who knows? Very interesting, though, that Hinman wasn't mentioned, because I'm sure you guys know by now, we have spent a lot of time in this case talking about Hinman. Number 4, only 2 footnotes mention ETH. Another weird thing where Ripple really doesn't bring up the Ethereum free pass speech. We know a ton of time in discovery has been focused on the Ethereum free pass speech. So another very weird coincidence. This really isn't brought up. Maybe another sign of settlement. Last of all, very polite filing by Ripple and the SEC. And I think what he's pointing out here is neither party really took shots at each other. I don't know if this is just customary, kind of trying to be very professional on this last filing, but it also could be indicative, hey, we're not going to make all this dirt public. We're about to settle this case. Either way, I think these are very interesting. For me, the most interesting one is definitely that these came out early on a Saturday night, right after each other. So that does make me think that these parties are coordinating behind the scenes. Whether they're talking about settlement, who knows? But guys, one last very interesting thing is October 1st of 2021, there was a fake release that this case was over, that this case settled. We are nearing on October 1st of 2022. A lot of people have been saying that the SEC needs more resources. They need the funds from this case. They need this case to be settled. They need to stop fighting it. Will it happen on the SEC's last day of their fiscal year, September 30th? Guys, I don't know. Either way, we are locked into summary judgment. Ripple looks great. I love their motion. So if this case does not settle, I'm more confident than ever. I like our chances. And overall, I think this was an excellent job by the Ripple legal team. Guys, Jeremy Hogan's releasing a video later today. You guys are definitely going to want to watch that. He'll do an amazing job. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure you do not miss on your chance to get an XRP chain. This thing is awesome. And guys, for now, Mickle out.